All right. Um, testing, testing. Hopefully my audio is clear enough. I'm praying my audio is good enough. Pop this chat out. All right. Hi. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Welcome to another live session here at TrinFx. Um, just gonna dive right into it, right? So hopefully my audio is clear enough. Pray to God that it is, right? So we have 30 minutes, around 30 minutes coming up till London session open. Take a quick look at GPJPY, right? Because I'm seeing a possible trade setup here, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way real quick. So taking a look at the daily, I just want to start with a top-down analysis. It's something I always do in terms of my analysis. I like to start from daily chart and move my way down when I'm doing my usual analysis. Just reset this. Okay. So this is what we have thus far, right? For the past week, last week, if we take a look, we saw that price initially was moving in this sort of a little uptrend here, right? Disregarding what we've been seeing in the past, you can see price was just sort of ranging back and forth, right? So we didn't have really a clear upward direction or a clear downward direction, but more of a sideways market. So that's why we'll take a look at the looking at price a little bit closer, right? Looking at what happened during the week, what happened during like the 2 week period. We're not looking like for the past month or anything like that when it comes to the daily chart, right? And this is like a sort of this is what you need to note when you're doing your price action analysis, right? Depending on the overall market movement, you may have to take a look closer depending on what you see in the charts are what's happening on the charts, right? So if you see that price is moving in an upward direction overall, like on a weekly daily time frame, then that gives a more clear consensus bias to have rather than the current market you are seeing on GBP where price is just moving sort of like sideways, right? So you need to look at the recent data rather than looking at the data from the previous weeks or anything like that. So that's why we're looking at last week data here, right? So we saw that price was trending a little bit upwards, right? We came to this resistance area here, right? We formed it once here, price rejected, and so that we came back into that level here again. Now, price has pulled back down on the initial start of the day because of the market fears that we are seeing right now due to some China related news. And we'll get into that a little bit more later, right? Okay, so here on the 4 hour, this is what I'm seeing. Overall, we've seen that price was moving in this sort of uptrend here, right? We had a slight break to the downside. However, given the overall trend that we are seeing, we're still in a more bullish trend, right? I would still call this a bullish trend. Despite the current pullback that we are seeing, there isn't no reason fundamentally for this to continue moving downwards as yet. All right, the yen has strengthened again, of course, because of those fears, those market fears that we are seeing right now. However, the strength is relative to those fears, right? So whether it plays out even more depends on the news. If we do get any more bearish news, which I don't think is something that will happen right as yet. All right, because this initial movement happened because of what went on over weekend, and there's a sort of momentum with that, right? So as we continue along progressing throughout the course of the day, we should see a reversal of this initial push downwards, which is what I'm looking to bank on here, right? So at this point, this is one of the trade setups that I do have. I am expecting price to actually come back into this area, get triggered, and continue moving back up. This is the support area that we are in right now, and we want to see price maintain that zone. All right, whether it's through this pullback, we want to see price come back up to this level and continue back upwards. Again, there's no fundamental reason for me to be bearish on this, so I'm looking for buy areas to get in on possible buy setups. This being the more likely area the best possible area to get into because of these levels right here. So if price does manage to pull back, I'd like to see a close above or push above and then continue with the market momentum during the course of the day to get price back up to these levels here, and that will be my trade setup. All right, so this is what I'm looking at. This would be a 1 to 5% trade. I may tighten my stop loss depending on just what we see here. If we get a really nice bullish rejection from this area, then I would tighten my stop loss and we could continue to see price moving back up. Right, so I'll tighten my stop loss something like this, right, and allow price to continue moving up if we do see this reverse into a bullish candle close. All right, so this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm waiting on. I'm not gonna put too much risk on it because again, things could change. It could progress in terms of the bearish news that we do have coming from China, right? So this could continue moving downwards. I'm not denying that fact, which is why I choose this as an area to get in possibly for those continuation movement back upwards, right? If you want to be more conservative with your target levels, you want to get in at the best possible level, which is there, as well as the best possible level to like to get out, then I would say maybe somewhere like right here. That's a reasonable area to get out of the trade. But I am expecting it to continue playing out, right? So I'm expecting it to continue going back up and a correction of this total movement here. When we do have London session open, we should get some volume and should see price continue pushing upwards. All right, so this is the trade I'm looking at. This is what I'm waiting on. Looking here, the 30-minute time frame. Right, so even if we hold this as a supportive level right after the rejections here on the 30-minute, then all around here, like if you want to take the additional risk, this could be like a possible trading area too. Right, target right above here, stop loss right below this candle wick here. This is a possible trade too as well. As you know, I like to take I like to put like sorry, not take, but I'll have like two setups, right? I'll give price two chances, right? If this doesn't play out initially, then I'll wait until we see something better, and then I'll re-enter the trade, right? It's very unlikely that my bias would change. It will just be the opportunity at which we get into. So this here is an opportunity you could get into. Again, we have rejected from this area, looking here at the 30-minute time frame. If this is held as a supportive level, we should see those continuation moving up, right? So this is an area you could get into, or you could wait until price actually pushes above this area right here. If we get a bullish candle close right into these wicks, then we should continue moving upward as well during the course of the day. So that's the trade that I'm looking at. Right, so I don't think I need to actually hop into the Discord to share this because everybody's aware of what I'm doing right now. Alright, so this is the trade setup here. And yeah, we'll see what price does, right? So we'll see whether this position actually plays out. And if we do actually see price continue moving up during the course of the day, I'll update everybody on that. But yeah, this is the trade setup for me. So I'm waiting for this to happen, and once price does reach back into this level, then I'll take an additional position to see that play up all the way back to the top side here. Right. Also, another trade that I'm currently in is AD USD. Right, I do have an AD USD position open right now. You can see price actually pull back a little bit here. Again, all of this is contributed to the news that we have coming out from China and just the market's overall reaction to that. Otherwise, if we didn't have that, then I think we'll be continuing bullishly on a lot of these currency pairs initially. But again, those fears have stepped into the market. It has soften risk tones overall, and that's why we're seeing the current bearishness across a lot of these currency pairs, right? Or price just moving in favor of the yen and the USD to some extent. So we don't really have much going on. Again, we also need to note that we are in a low volume situation. So yeah, that's something you always need to take into consideration, right? And you buy. Let's see, NU. NU buys. Okay. Okay, so NU. Again, those risk tones have become very softened. So in terms of buy situations, this is a nice possible level to get in on a buy, right? Overall, the technicals align. It's a pretty clean, clear-cut level, right? You have this gap here, so you will get a you should get a fill of this gap as well. So that you can you can use that as an added confluence, as well as the rejections from here you see in. So yeah, this does look like a clean level you could possibly get into the trade, right? But again, you need to note those risk tones being very softened because of the current news impacting the market. So is anybody's guess, right? This could continue moving downwards. Maybe we might see even more bearishness depending on the situation in China, how that plays out. But currently, what we have going on, okay, like I'm trying to, I want to see if I could articulate this in a way that's understandable. The markets are reacting to the news that happened over the weekend, right? Now, this is in terms of the fears, because well, it have multiple reasons as to why, right? One, which I haven't seen reported anywhere, is the fact that if China invades Taiwan, right? Because we also had this sort of bearishness, this sort of invasion thing, so to speak, playing out as well. But I haven't seen any reports or anything on it. If that happens, right, that would affect the global shipment of semiconductors out of Taiwan, which could negatively impact GDP and across the US, right? So that's one thing that we have happening, and it could possibly lead to more recession fears and stuff like that, right? So we have that happening, which in a sense is very bullish for the non-USD pairs, because of the overall I'm trying to articulate this in a way that's understandable. Because of the overall shipment of semiconductors that the US does receive on a monthly basis, right? If that is to happen, then it will heavily impact the US economy, right? Leading to more bearish tones, which in overall would affect the market in terms of like NTD USD here. It would give rise to more bullish momentum because of that USD weakness, right? So the US dollar will weaken further, thereby you'll see more of a bullish reaction on stuff like NTD USD, AD USD, and any of the other major USD cross pairs, right? To some extent. Now, the other thing that we have happening currently is the fact that we have the COVID measures and the protests by factory workers and as well as the people of China. When it comes to, I cannot pronounce the name, but when it comes to the current leader, right, not stepping down from his position of power, right? So all of that, and because of like is abuse of power, whatever the case is. So because of that, that is why we saw the current bearishness on the markets, as well as the stone soften, right? So this is the reaction that we are seeing over the weekend, right? So the markets have now opened, trading is now available for the starting of the week. This is the reaction over the weekend. Now, if we do not have any news coming out that affects that would affect or impact currency trading to that extent. So like let's say, okay, we had that happen. Now we just don't have any more reports, right? If we don't have any more reports coming out of China or anything like that, then everything should get back to the initial levels where price was initially at before that bearishness, right? So we would see price actually recover from the overall bearishness that we saw initially at the start of the trading week, all right? So like all these bears push downwards. For example, maybe this would help better explain it. So like this, for instance, GPJPY, we saw that when price opened, right, when the markets open, the bears push downwards. Again, this is a reaction towards that news event that happened over the weekend, right? This is being reflected in the market. Now, if we do not have any more news, any more bearish news, anything like that come out from now until the end of the trading week, or now until tomorrow, whatever the case is, that will be enough time to see a recovery in price, right? Again, this is all contributed to that bearish tone that the news that we saw happen over the weekend, right? So this should correct. Now, how that translates to NCD USD, that comes to the overall risk tone softening. We should see a recovery in those risk tones, right? So I would say that's like I guess an overly long explanation to say that I would be bullish on this, but just be aware that this could continue moving down depending on if we do get any more news, right? Any more bearish woody news from out of China or just overall, right? But the only thing right now to watch is the news coming out of China. That is what's really moving the market right now. In terms of any other fundamental data that we do have for this week, let's just take a look here. Right, so hopefully that's understandable, right? I ain't trying to mansplain anything to you guys, so I just hope like that's understandable. In terms of news events that we have coming out this week, we have GDP, right? Again, I don't look at these sort of news right here because it's not the general euro area. It's just like one part, so it doesn't really heavily impact the euro itself. If you're just looking at one part of the euro area, so I don't pay attention to any of this. Even though it mark high impact, it's really not for the currency market. Yeah, we have GDP, so for Canada, so we have that. This right here, overall GDP growth rate, this would be an interesting number to see. We'll see how price plays out with that. So we have that for tomorrow. GDP for September. This may also have a impact on price, right? Not much, right? It's a lot of news, but in terms of news to affect the markets, not much. We have the ECB non-monetary policy meeting this May. I'll keep an eye on this. Right, we have some retail sales again for the general for parts of euro, not really the euro area. We have CPI. So this right here, this would be this will have a high impact on the euro itself, right? Because this is the general euro area, which is the overall all the countries, economies that make up the euro area, right? The European Union. So we have this. This is something to pay attention to, as well as inflation. This year-to-year comparison, right? I think this has more of a impact on price because we're looking at the previous year, well, the previous 12 months compared to now, and we'll see that change in inflation, right? So whether inflation is rising or it's falling, it'll give us a good idea of what to expect from the European Union and the central bank, the ECB, when it comes to their monetary policies as well, and if we could see a rise in interest rates or whatever the case may be, right? A lot of USD news, but not really impactful. We have Jules job openings. Yeah, I wouldn't pay attention to that right now, to be honest. We have Fed Chair Powell speech, right? So this year, very highly impactful. We have that Wednesday. I didn't even see that last week, right? And then we have some more CPI stuff. So we have a fair amount of news coming out for this week. A good few things that we need to pay attention to. Okay, we have jobless claims. Some more speech. Wow, a lot of speech. And then this is just Wednesday. Okay. Oh no, this is December. All right. I was wondering. Right, and we have NFP. We have NFP as well. Right. So we have a lot of news happening. The only times that I think would be best to get actually into any new set of trade developments. Let me take a look at you guys if you guys have any questions, right? All right, okay. Yeah, the only time when I'll take any new positions, or the best possible times to actually enter the market right now, because of that low volume situation, I would say is during the CPI data that we have for the euro. So this is Wednesday, right? If you're looking to bank on news movement, right, to get that additional volume, CPI euro this year, yeah, because you don't need to pay attention to too much going on at that point of time, right? You do have GDP for the US, for the USD and stuff here, right? But in terms of the overall impact that it'll have, it shouldn't really affect anything. And trying to trade the euro CPI. Now the other things that that we have coming up that you could potentially get a trade set up from, excuse me, is we have the we have Fed Powell speaking, right? So it depends. Anything he says would impact the market, but whether this will have a bearish or bullish sentiment on the US dollar remains anybody's guess, because we haven't had overall we had a very weak USD. So maybe we might come out and try to reassure the economy that the US dollar is still, we still have room to see more interest rates increase. We still could do this, we could still do that, whatever. So it might come to try and reassure, and that may help price push up in terms of the US dollar current strength. So I wouldn't look to getting on any USD trades during Wednesday, right? I'll wait until afterwards, whatever he says, and see how that impacts the market, and then I'll get into my a possible USD trade, right? So again, this all in terms of NZD USD. I would say yes, you could take a bullish. This is a very bullish trend, and this looks like a bullish setup for me. To continue back up here, which is something we could see. But just be aware of the fact that we do have news coming up that would affect that trade itself, right? So depending on what Fed Powell says, could impact the US dollar. Well, it would impact the US dollar. Whether it's bullish or bearish, that remains to be seen. We have CPI again for the CHF for the Swiss. Sorry, yeah, CPI and retail sales news. So we'll see how this impacts the Swiss dollar as well. See that CPI still remain the same. Very unlikely, but we'll see, right? And we also do have some more USD news here, jobless claims, continuing jobless claims. So all this would have an impact on news, on the US dollar as well. And if the actual does come out as the consensus or less than, that would be good, right? So let's just take a look here. Right, so first time jobless claims, if you don't know what it is, right? So we just take a look at the explanation here, right? They have a significant impact on the financial markets, since in contrast to continuous claims data, which monitors the number of people receiving unemployment benefits, first time jobless claims measure fresh and developing unemployment, right? So a higher than expected figure should be seen as negative or bearish, while a lower than expected figure should be seen as positive, right? So we see here that we do have a lower than expected number from the previous, so that is 240k to 235k. If the actual does come out as that or even lower, that would be good for the US dollar. Highly unlikely that is what we will see, but again, that's what the consensus has. So I'm not gonna try to do the people that does the analytics for my FX book or whatever. But it's very unlikely that we'll see that, because for the past couple of weeks that we have been seeing jobless claims and stuff, it has been bearish, right? It has been more increasingly becoming more of an issue. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? But you can see what the explanation that they have here. So the lower than expected number should be seen as bullish. So we'll see if we get that. That should also help price improve. So we have initially the Fred Powell speaking. So if he does say something bullish for the dollar, that's great. The bullish tone will pick up. As well as if we do see jobless claims coming out lower than expected, all of that will help contribute to the US dollar recovery, right? We also do have some interest rates increase for the dollar as well. So all of that may help the dollar recover from its current bearishness. And we also do have some more stuff, right? But we'll continue looking at it as the week progresses. And we'll see how that impacts the current price, the current market, right? So all of that is something that we could pay attention to. We have a couple of minutes, like 2 minutes remaining. So you can see we actually picked up here. And if you know something about volume trading, the initial volume, so as you can see, price actually pushing up with volume, right? As the London session opens, we should see a continuation with that movement, right? So we'll see. Let's see how this AD USD playing out. So AD USD actually came back right into the initial entry. I'm gonna leave it because I'm expecting Ristones to recover overall. So I'm gonna leave this. I'm not trying to get into too much trades. I'm trying to take my time, because if you know, I do trade frequently. And I'm trying to cut back on the amount of trades I do take. This may impact my overall profitability in terms of, we in the TrinFx Discord VIP, it just have some crazy weeks, right? So a lot of times we'll profit way more than 10% and stuff like that. But I'll cut back on it, right? Quality over quantity. If I actually do start taking more and more invested trades in the London session, then yeah, I'll probably cut back on stuff like that, right? So because it's not a race, right, guys? It's not a race at all. So you should take a time when trading sometimes, right? Especially with the low volume situation, not really too much opportunities arise throughout the November, December months. Obviously this year has been very different compared to the previous years, because we have so much going on right now. So we had a lot of opportunities, a lot of price movements that we wouldn't have seen in the past, before COVID and stuff like that. So yeah, all of that good stuff. But I would cut back on my frequency of trading and give you guys more quality setups. So we'll see how this plays out. I am expected to continue moving bullishly after this rejection that we had here, a very strong bullish rejection. Again, once we saw that bullish candle close, we should see a continuation with price movement, as well as recovery from the news impact on the current market from over the weekend. We should see a recovery in that as well. So all of this here is just a clean range to continue moving upwards, right? So if price does manage to pull up even more and we get a close above here, or even a bullish impulsive move upwards, right, once we do break here, that I do think we should continue moving upwards, right? So all of that would be a good opportunity to, possibly double down your risk. Again, this is not me telling you to double down on the risk, but I'm just saying I'm going to double down on the risk, right? And see that continuation move, possibly play out, and yeah, just get a overall better sort of, you know, trade. So that's it. So this is currently what we have happening. If you're waiting for this area to be triggered, again, a bullish candle push up to that area is great, and even better, a bullish candle close into the area, right? So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm waiting for. If you entered here early, then please do manage your risk as well, and just allow price to play out. Right, all of this I'm just allowing it to play out. In terms of like other setups that I see, we should see an overall recovery from all. Sorry, something in my eye, guys. We should see recovery from all the yen pairs, the yen cross pairs, but the thing is with the JPY, while I would choose to get into that now compared to the others, is because again we have volume because there's London session open, so there'll be volume with the pound, and that should give a better possibility to see price continue moving up or recovery from the initial fall, right? That is not to say that it won't happen on these here as well, because it could happen very well on CAD JPY, CHF JPY, and all of that. But there's just a better possibility to see that happen here than on the other yen cross pairs, right? Because that's where the volume is at. So hopefully that's understandable to you guys as well. All right. If you do, and if you get any information out of the stream, then please do leave a like, as it helps out the channel be discovered, and the YouTube algorithm and whatnot, to help the channel be discovered by anybody else that may find this useful and whatnot. Right, so we'll just leave this. I am expected to continue moving upwards, and we'll see. We might not get that throughout the first hour, might get it in the next hour of the London session, right? But yeah, that's my overall analysis. I have no reason to change it at this point of time, and yeah, we'll just see how price plays out. All right, guys, and well, I'm in the AD USD as well. So that's the only two trades I'm actually in. Everything else, I'm just gonna take my time, right? I'm not gonna be like overly paying too much risk or anything. Not gonna be entering every setup that I see. Yeah, I'm being more conservative with the trades I do actually, the pairs that I do look at, or the pairs that I do get into right now. Just given the fact that it's November, November's almost done. It's almost December. We're finishing a year. No need to risk it. Risk it all in December month, right? No need to risk it all coming to the end of the November month either. We had a very solid year, right? If you've been in a TrinFx group since the starting of the year, then wow, it's been a crazy ride. And if you got in recently, then yeah, it's also been a crazy ride still. Right? So yeah, there's no need to like put in too much risk coming to the end of the year. So you could take your time at their setups, but at a more conservative conservative risk or whatever the case is, and just understand that it's low volume situation, a lot of news, and yeah, price. Sorry guys, some just bugging me in my eye. And price just could do what it wants, right? So just be aware of that fact, right? A lot of people try to trade in November, December month, like it's just like, yeah, it's so needed when it's not. You have better trading opportunities to come. You have more volume to hit the markets as the new year approaches, right? So no need to put too much risk into trying to get a set of profits right now, right? Obviously, you can still trade, but just be aware of your risk management. Right? A lot of people like to throw that out the window. Need extra money for the Christmas. I need to make 5K for Christmas because I wanna buy a couple of things. Yeah, this looks like a good setup. I'm just gonna risk it all. No, don't do that. Don't be that guy, right? So so yeah, we'll just see what happens here. That's it for me right now, guys. Not much going on, right? I don't want to hold you guys here unnecessarily right now. When there's nothing really to take place or look at. So yeah, we'll end it here, and I'll update you guys on the trades. Those that are in the Discord community, I'll update you guys on the trades as I continue playing them, right? Discord and Telegram. Sorry. So that's it for me, guys. I'll see you throughout the week, right? And again, we will have this London session tomorrow morning as well, same time, 3:30 a.m. Eastern, whatever time that is for you guys. So yeah, that's it for me right now. So hopefully you found this informational. You got some knowledge out of this, and I could help you in your trading. Thank you for joining. Leave a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, so you can stay tuned for future updates when I do post videos, as well as when I do go live, so it's more convenient to you. All right, so that's it, guys. Peace.